All right, so good morning, everybody. So this class today, we're going to talk a little bit about why are my people not calling me back? Why is communication so poorly? Sometimes that's on us. Sometimes it's all about them and just different personality types. Believe me, I don't plan to be an expert here in this topic, but I find it kind of fun, and after years of just communicating and trying to help so many people, that it's kind of fun to figure out what makes them tick and how I can communicate better with them. So with that being said, part of it is just effective communication, right? We spend almost our entire day communicating. So how can we kind of provide a big boost to our productivity? We can make sure that we communicate with the clearest, most effective way possible. Again, sometimes that's just basic communication, but sometimes it's the way people hear us and what personality they have and their traits that help us determine what our emails and voicemails should look like to them, depending on how they like to receive communication. So remember, the first thing, just real quick in communication, everybody, it's always the who, what, where, and why. I think we learned that in second grade. You know, if you're sending a message, be complete. If you read, and always go back and read your messages, because I get so many messages where there's like part of it, but if I have to go back and ask 3 more questions, like what time are we riding together, you know, are you, whatever the case may be. So just making sure that it's complete is just so important. So make sure you always get your who, what, when, where, and why in there. And then we probably all later in our education heard about the 7 C's of communication, that everything needs to be clear and concise, concrete, correct, coherent, complete, and courteous. So with communicating every single day with people, it's just important to kind of always have those things down. And I'm just going to go over a couple of those really quick before we get into personalities, because then I think when we're talking about how we communicate with different people, this will just all be really fresh in your mind. So here's kind of the checklist of the 7 C's of communication, right? So number 1, we have to be clear. When we're writing or we're speaking to someone, we need to be clear about our message. What's the purpose of our communication with this person? If you're not sure, guess what? They're not sure either. You have to know why you're communicating with them. So try to minimize the number of ideas. You know, you don't want to get to the end of an email and go, whoa, what exactly was that all about? So just be clear and be quick. Concise, you know, when you're concise in your communication, you stick to the point and you keep it brief. That's it about concise, right? When concrete, your message, your audience should have just a clear picture when you're done. Vivid facts, details, laser focus, right? What's our next one? Correct. When you're correct is good. It should fit your audience, no typos, all of that. You want to look professional. Coherent. Is it logical? Does it make sense? Are all your points connected and relevant to the main topic? There should be some tone and some flow. Complete, right? Is it a complete message? Does the audience have everything that they need to know what they need to do? And did you put a call to action in there so that they know if they need to call you back or just meet you there? Is it just complete? But don't forget a call to action so that the reader knows exactly what they need to do next. And then obviously just being courteous and having friendly, open, honest communication. And if you do those things, you're going to have credibility with your people. So your way of communication, guys, may not be their way of communication. I think that's one of the things that we tend to kind of look over when we get started with buyers or clients of any kind, is that we think our way is the best way. And they may say, hey, we're looking for some houses, and what do? You go, yay, great. Hey, I'll set you up on a portal. And you put all the information in there, and all of a sudden they're getting automated emails, and they're on their portal, and you sit at your computer, just like this gal, going, oh my gosh, they're not calling me back. I haven't heard from them. What do I do? Oh my gosh, I don't understand. Like I've set 6 people up on a portal and nobody's calling me. Well, sometimes that's kind of on us, right? We can take care of that problem with just a few things. So remember, one size does not fit all when it comes to communication at all. There are some questions that you need to ask. And if you do this, I promise your level of conversation is going to go up, and it's going to be much higher. So number 1, what's their timeline? Above all, you have to understand their timeline. If somebody says, yeah, we're looking, and you set them up on a portal and you didn't ask what their timeline is, maybe they're just watching the market right now and they're not even going to be ready to do anything till next October. Well, if you didn't ask that question, then you're going to be sitting here for 6 months wondering why they're not calling you, right? Or why, when you send an email to them, they don't respond. They're not getting back to you. Well, guess what? They're not ready. So find out what their timeline is. Number 1, ask who should be contacted. Just simply straight out say, okay, when we're talking about houses, who should I communicate with? Is it you? Is it you? Is it both of you? Is it 3 of you? Is it the whole family? Who should I be contacting? And then what is the most effective way to communicate with you? What do you like? There are going to be some people that just will say, send me a quick text, or I'd rather be called. I mean, guys, my kids are all off my payroll. Our baby is 30. So they are all in between 30 and 40. And I will find something that I think is cool, and then nobody gets back to me, and I'll say, did you guys see that email that I checked? And they're like, Mother, we don't email. My God, I check my email once every 6 months. Well, okay, so I now know that I need to text them, or if I send them an email, I have to text them and tell them to look at their email. But it's all about communication. So find out who, what they like. Older people might want to be called. Millennials might want a quick text. There are some people that are very, very much data driven. They might want an email with everything timelined out in that. So what is the most effective way to communicate with you? You should also ask them, are there days and times that work best for them, right? If you're trying to call somebody every day at 2 o'clock because that's when it's convenient for you and you've gotten your morning routine down and everything else, but their kids are down for naps and they're doing whatever they do at that time, that just may not be the most convenient time. So always ask if there are better days and times that work best for them. Ask them what their expectation is for communication. You know, some people might want to be communicated 2 or 3 times a week or every time something new comes on the market. And there are some people that may say, you know, we're just kind of watching this. Yeah, if you want to check in with us every weekend to see if there's houses that we want to go look at. But find out what their expectation is of communication. Because again, as salespeople, and especially as JBGoodwin agents, we're trained to communicate quickly, right? And I know it gets on all of our nerves when we've communicated and somebody else hasn't communicated back. So find out what their expectation is for communication. And then ask, what should I expect in return for a response time? So like if I call you and leave a message, are you guys good about, you know, getting back with me that same day? And I ask that. It's not all on me. You know, it's on them too. And I think if you take the time to kind of set all of these expectations up front, you're going to get a lot more feedback. Because remember, a conversation is two ways, right? You talk, then you be quiet, and you let them talk. It's not just about us constantly going at them. So what is the timeline? Who should be contacted? What is the most effective way to communicate with you? Are there better days and times? What is your expectation for communication? And what can I expect in return? Are you good at following up or getting back to me the same day? Is that helpful? Do you guys have those conversations? Yeah? Seeing some, yeah, yes. It's kind of hard to, and when you have those, Ricardo, doesn't it work a lot better?
Yeah. Big time. Sorry, I'm in a restaurant and it sounds a little loud in here, but yes, it really does help.
Yeah, it helps. It helps a lot. So don't be afraid to have those conversations. Okay, so that's all I'm going to go over with you on communication. Again, y'all talk all day, all the time, but that's just some kind of helpful tips. Now we're going to get to the fun stuff. So everybody remembers our good friends, Charlie Brown and the gang, right? Well, there are definitely at least 5 or 6 personalities that are completely different in this picture. And that's what we're going to find out there when we're doing business. And that's why transactions, you know, can be difficult sometimes. You've got, you know, 2 people on each side of a transaction plus 2 agents. We've got 6 different personalities, and sometimes our thoughts and our feelings and our ways to communicate, they all get in the way. So, and I know that everybody can go take personality tests, and there's a number, there's, you know, DISC tests, and there's a number of different ones, and I'm sorry, I don't know them all, but for today's purposes, we are going to talk about A, B, C, and D, okay? Are you an A personality? Are you a B? Are you a C? Are you a D? And most everybody kind of has an idea of typically of what those look like. And if not, this is going to be really fun for you to learn a little bit. Oh, let me let somebody in. All right, so let's talk about A's. Ooh, the type A personality. Do you know, think about this. Do you know a type A personality? They like to be in charge and in control of their environment and their lives. They're normally, honestly, A people are not very detail oriented. They choose to delegate details to others. They're usually very goal oriented though, and very practical in their solutions. And they like no nonsense, bottom line, very quick. They don't like a lot of restraints or restrictions placed on them. Most A's, I will tell you, prefer to work independently and on their own schedule. That's why they like to be very independent. Sometimes business owners, a lot of salespeople are a type A. Is anybody hearing themselves in this? You all are running your own business. I wouldn't be surprised to find a type A in a position of supervisor or management. They have a very entrepreneurial streak. They like to be business owners. They're not easily discouraged, so they will normally just exude confidence. Everybody's very confident. A personalities like things that change. They don't like the doldrums. They don't like the day-to-day routine. That's why a lot of salespeople are really good at this job, because every day you're working with a new client, you have a new boss, right? Nothing is going to be boring. If there's anything we can say about real estate, it is not boring. It is not. Some type A's are not very good at recognizing other people's feelings or their needs. And that's not necessarily because they don't care. It's just that they're extremely focused on finishing a task and getting to the next one. So it's not that they don't care. but they will, an A will be very good under pressure. They excel in high stress situations. So let's go on and take a look at some A's. So jobs that might attract a type A personality: presidents or CEOs, contractors, salespeople, business owners, politicians, entrepreneurs, police and military officers, managers, executives, and most of their traits, like we already said, they're very goal-oriented, they're risk takers, and they are super good under stress. Some of their personality strengths too, they embrace change. They don't mind change. They like something different, and they like the challenge. They like fast pace. Usually A's are really ambitious too. They work independently really great. But what are their weaknesses? Ooh, type A's can be stubborn. They can be really, really stubborn. They are workaholics, lots of times a little impatient. They can be abrupt, which makes them seem uncaring, even though they are. But they're really tough. They can be a little intolerant and domineering as well. You guys know anybody like this? Is it striking a chord with anybody? So phrases that motivate type A personalities are: let's get it done. We're going to do it fast. I'm looking for results. What's the bottom line? What do you know, the best, take the challenge. They're not going to interact well to touchy-feely things, long explanations and descriptions, not a long story. We want the cliff notes. Ooh, I said we in there like I could be one of those people. They really don't like falling into a routine. They don't like being taken advantage of at all, and they do not like losing. Do not like losing. So if you've got a type A and you know your client is a type A and you're working with that client, the most effective communication that you can have with somebody that is a type A is going to be short and to the point, right? So how might we communicate with a type A? It might be something just as simple as, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, it's Tammy. I have a listing you need to see. Call me. End of story. To the point. I've got a listing. You need to see it. Just call me. So if we know that a type A personality is straight and to the point, they tend to be driven, they're fast-paced, they can be impatient, they're brutally honest, and they're not into long conversations. Of our peanut gang that we saw, who do you think would be our type A in the peanut gallery? Anybody?
Lucy.
Mario. Yes, sir. It is Lucy. Lucy would be our type A personality. She is definitely straight and to the point and very much likes the bottom line when it comes to decisions. All right, moving on. Let's talk about our B's. So, oh my gosh, if you're a salesperson, there's a good chance you're a B as well. So a type B personality for our coaching today is very outgoing, energetic, fast-paced individual who likes to be around people. They enjoy being the center of attention. They're great relationship builders. They're the life of the party. They are the party. Their driving need is approval. They like to be noticed. Goes back to being the center of attention, right? They love compliments, acknowledgments on their achievements. Words of admiration are really super important. Applause, awards. These are very much in that category. Just grab my notes. I've got so many notes on all these personalities. Now I'm not going to be able to find it. Hang on, bear with me. Sorry. I think I covered it all, but I want to make sure. Okay, I did. Life of the party. So, type B, we're going to call them today the socializer, right? So, jobs that attract a type B personality is going to be somebody in public relations, maybe salespeople, somebody in the entertainment, personnel, interviewers, professional hostess or hostesses, politicians, right? Shaking hands and kissing babies. Recreation director, so Julie McCoy, cruise director. I know I'm showing my age here, but obviously a type B, party planner, customer service, etc. So type B personality traits are always going to be relationship oriented, outgoing, enthusiastic. Let's see, what else can I talk about for B? Their weaknesses. Oh my gosh. So type B weaknesses are, they can be a little too self-involved, right? They may try to do too much all at once. That's certainly true. Sometimes they can be a little unrealistic. They have trouble being by themselves. They typically don't like to even live alone. They might be somebody that always needs somebody with them or have roommates. They have a little bit of a short attention span, according to the study. They sometimes don't always finish what they start, a little bit like squirrel, shiny object. I love it. I'm over here. I'm over there. I'm going to get it all done. So they can be a little impulsive, very much whimsical, and sometimes they will procrastinate quite a bit. But they are an idea person. They're a motivator. They're a dreamer. They're lighthearted. They're spontaneous. They truly just love other people and being around them. So some phrases that your husband. So phrases that motivate type B personalities, you know, you look great, you're the best at this or that, oh my gosh, people love you, this is going to be so fun, thank you for doing this, you just throw the best parties, or oh my gosh, you know, they're the ones that give you a present and it looks like it, you know, was wrapped by a professional gift wrapper. Bees are really scared. They are very fearful, I will tell you, of public humiliation. And they don't like not being appreciated. They are, they don't like non-social types. If you're an introvert, that you're not going to be on their hit list. They do not like to be appear unattractive. Most of the time, a bee will get up and get dressed and be ready for the day, even if they're staying home all day. They don't like really people and things that distract from their attention. They like being the center of attention. They don't like appearing unsuccessful, and they always want to be accepted. So if we go back to our Peanuts gang, and we have the one that loves the socializing and to be an influencer. They're very outgoing and friendly and energetic and just love life. Who is going to be our type B in the Peanuts gang? Oh, wait. Sorry. The most effective way to communicate with a bee. So a bee, when you're communicating with a bee, you have to remember, it's like, hi, buyer, it's Tammy. I found the perfect home for you that you've been looking for. It's got a fabulous kitchen and outdoor living area space. where we can just, throw those amazing parties that you do. The island is huge. I know how you love to cook and how we all love to stand around and talk to you, whatever. It's on the most amazing street in the prettiest neighborhood. It's actually your favorite neighborhood, and you won't want to miss this. And you've got to play into all of their social and center of attention stuff. So when you're working with somebody that's a socializer, make sure that what they do, you're putting at the center of attention when you're leaving any messages at all. So back to our Peanuts gang. So far we have 1 vote for Sally and 1 for Snoopy, and it is, drum roll, Snoopy. Snoopy is our socializer. Snoopy is having a party for everything that comes up and doesn't need a reason for anything. So Snoopy it is. Anybody know any Snoopies? Are you a Snoopy? Who's a Snoopy on here?
I put that was me. As you were reading off those characteristics and traits, I felt that I most aligned to those, in terms of just, wanting to make people happy and, throwing like a festive event to get people involved.
Yeah.
And show, one thing that I also is I try to show vision, like where you could be and how your vision is promising, and very much a people pleaser. So that's why I felt that I aligned most to the B personality.
Yeah, sure. All right. So now we're going to talk about our C's. And our C group is somebody who is very detail-oriented individual. They like to be involved in things that are controlled and stable. They're interested in accuracy, rationality, and logic. People who can't seem to control their emotions will probably bother a C for sure. Let's see. They also dislike being around people who are full of hype, because they like facts and data. They are driven by logic and accuracy. They're very analytical thinkers. C's are they are outcome driven. They are sticklers for following procedures and protocol. They're careful. They're resourceful. Above all, they are excellent thinkers that will absolutely look at everything from every possible direction. I am married to a C. Just don't tell him I talk about him. But I am married to a C, and sometimes there's this thing called, analysis paralysis. Like, they will analyze everything to the point of just not being able to move forward. So when in decision-making roles, they're always very cautious and logical, and they require so many details. The one thing I will tell you, it's very difficult to win an argument against a C. They have all the data behind why they are right. And if you don't have any data to present that you're right, you're not going to win against a C. I'm speaking from just personal experience again here. So that's my view on a C. Jobs that attract a type C personality. Troubleshooters, investigators like crime, forensics, engineers, technical support, research scientists, game designers, data analytics, pilots, musicians are very much type C's. Who else do I have down here? Accountants, lawyers, inventors, anybody in that realm is going to be, we would put them in that C category. They're very detail-oriented, logical, and very well prepared. Things that motivate type C personalities are perfection. How does that work? They like the data. They love to know how things work. They like quiet and they like to be alone. They're always the tell me more about it. Some of the turnoffs or dislikes of a C are uncontrolled emotions, irrational, spontaneous acts, indecision. They don't like people that can't make a decision. Bugs my husband to death that are you hungry? I don't know. Are you hungry? What do you want to eat? I don't know, honey. What do you want to eat? And then when he picks, I go, oh no, I don't want that. So, part of it's my fault. Loss of control. They love being in control. They do not like having loss of control at all. Distractions and distracting people, not really big on those at all. They are definitely, their strengths are accuracy, creativity, they're dependable, they're imaginative, they're independent, and again, very detail-oriented, and they have great follow-through, they're organized, and usually they're very, very thoughtful people. So if you have a C, the most effective communication for a C will be data-driven and full of detail. So messages for a C are going to be a lot lengthier because they want a lot more information. So, hi buyer, it's Tammy. It's 1:37 p.m. I have located a home at 16372 Make Sense Lane. It has 4 beds, 3 baths, 3.5 car garage, and 4532 approximate square feet. Price-wise, it's actually in the lower to average range for the neighborhood. I can show you tomorrow at 10 a.m. and we need to be done by 10:30 per the agent. We only have a 30-minute window. So call me between 3 and 5 today to confirm. So very detailed. Your voice messages to a C are going to be considerably longer than you're going to make to an A, and very much more business than what you would say to a B, who is very much more whimsical and all about themselves. So, in the Snoopy gang, who in the world is our C?
Schroeder.
Well, it's Linus.
Oh, I got it.
Schroeder plays the piano. He's the blonde-haired one. I didn't have Schroeder up there. This is Linus, and Linus is definitely our C. Linus is very much the thinker in the group. Okay. Now we're on to our Ds, our D personalities. So let me get back to, okay, a D person. So type D personalities, these are going to be your supporters, cheerleaders. They take things a little slower. They follow a much easier, more laid back pace toward their work and just their life in general. They seek security and longevity in a job, and they're very happy doing repetitive tasks day in and day out. Repetition actually allows them to be very skilled in what they do. They don't like change. They don't like the rules to change. A D, actually, the studies show that they are happier hating their job and knowing what it is than changing. Okay? So even though their current way may be unpleasant, they will worry about the unknown, and that will make it just worse for them. So they seek respect and admiration of others. They will gladly work hard to please people, and they will work for as long as they feel appreciated. So it's really important to show appreciation to Ds. They're usually very organized. They don't like being around a messy, disorganized environment. That will bug them till they get it cleaned out. they're really good at supportive roles. They're caring, they're thoughtful, they're compassionate. They're usually really patient and good listeners too, and they work really well on a team. They may not be as fast as others, but I tell you, they are very, very accurate in what they do. So just kind of some of their jobs that attract a D type personality is going to be maybe an administrator, social worker, doctor or nurse, assembly line people, mechanics, teachers, counselors, ministers, librarians, security guard, customer service rep. They're usually very task oriented. They like stable, and they're usually very cautious. Some of their strengths, they're very fair, they're approachable, they're very trustworthy, and very, very reliable. So a type D is always going to help others in need. They are going to be they love relaxed, logical, and rational. They do not like risk. Again, they don't like risk. They don't like change. They don't like instability. They don't like disorganization. Said some of these already. They're not necessarily fond of surprises either. They don't like the unknown, and they do not like conflict. They will avoid conflict at definitely all costs. They will avoid conflict. So in our type D, we know that they are, oh, wait. Okay, so how would we send a voicemail to somebody that's a D? So maybe it would sound something like, "Hi buyer, this is Tammy at JBGoodwin. There's a house that just came on the market that's in a setting just like your neighborhood." Because you want to make sure they don't like a lot of change, so there's got to be some familiarity there. It has a great yard for the kids' playscape, and you can still walk to school, which I know is important to you. I remembered the kids take a nap from noon to 2. I can schedule the view around 3 to fit with your routine after naps and maybe before dinner. So sticking with a lot of what they know, or just making it feel comfortable, and that it's not like a lot of change, and that it fits into their schedule. And with a C, you're not going to be able to, don't get too quick, don't get too pushy. They're not going to like that. So back to our Peanuts gang. Our dude is going to be Charlie Brown, right? Our type D is Charlie Brown. He's very low key, he's compassionate, he's dependable, and he is very, 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 very sincere. So the one thing to note about all of this is that nobody is all one. It's going to be highly unlikely that somebody's an all A, or an all B, or an all C, or an all D. Most of us are just an X, and that's when 2 or more personalities collide. It would be fun, you know, we all probably have an idea of what we are, but it would be fun to ask your friends, "Hey, what do you think I am?" And see what they say about you. Or go home today and ask your spouse, or figure out what your spouse is, or your best friend, or somebody that you're going to talk to today. But a lot of people are going to be more of something and have some tendencies of the other. And you guys were all catching on, because I see some in the comments where people are saying I'm this or that. So I'm definitely two of them put together for sure. So when you get a type X, back to our Peanuts gang, you're going to be more like Sally. Sally is Charlie Brown's sister, and she has a lot of the compassionate traits and stuff like Charlie Brown does, but she's also very fun. So she's probably a Snoopy and a Charlie Brown together. And I think a lot of us are probably a combination of a few different things. Anybody have any comments or on any of this? No?
Yeah, I like the content. I like the exercise and really discovering the different types of personalities. You know, it helps you kind of better understand how people operate in their comfort zones, so that when you do kind of recognize some of the characteristics in a client, you can kind of tailor your conversations toward that, so that they feel most comfortable. And I think comfort leads to trust, and trust leads to securing a buyer or seller. So thank you for the information.
Absolutely. Mirroring your clients is just very, very effective in communication. So when it comes back to communicating, I'm just going to go back just a little bit. Remember, y'all, have the conversation just like you would pre-qualify somebody to get a house or go on a listing appointment. Talk to them about how they want to communicate. That's just, it's super important, and what they can expect from you and what you expect from them. That way you're not just waiting and wondering, and are they ever going to call, or have they ghosted me? Well, you don't know. Maybe a good time to reach them, you talk to them on Sunday, but this week was a really bad week for them, and maybe they're not going to get back in touch with you till next week. But if you don't have that conversation where they let you know they're going to be out of town for 5 days, or somebody in their family got sick, or whatever the case may be, just ask them how they want to communicate. Keep it creative and personalized. That's going to help keep your audience engaged, right? So think about your messages. Take a moment and just, it may not be the message you would send, but it might be the one that just keeps them engaged, right? So a great realtor is a communication chameleon. And just remember, if all you hear is crickets at some time or another, if it's just crickets, lots of times they're not saying no. It just means not yet. Okay, so keep trying. And if you didn't have the conversations with them about how they want to be communicated with or how often, just have it. It can happen anytime, but it'll just prepare you for what you need to do to best work with them. So I hope that helps. I hope it was fun. Y'all are doing just a great job, and keep breaking new ground. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy.
Thanks, Tammy. Good to see your face.
Thank you, Tammy.
Wonderful class.